Okay, we're back. So we're going to wrap up this little montage, if we call it, or a series of clips or nonsense, because that's what we enjoy, talking about what we're looking forward to for the spring. So I'm going to start because it's Monday when we're filming this, and tomorrow night the new Roseanne is starting. And I have to say, I'm kind of excited, but I'm not terribly excited, but I can't not watch. And I know what they're doing with old Becky and new Becky, and I don't know if I should say it, but I will. So old Becky is going to be there, and apparently she needs a surrogate.
Lacey Goranson.
Yeah, and the new Becky,
Sarah Chalk.
that's why I love you, is going to be the surrogate. So I kind of think that's really cool. And wait, did you know also, too, there was an episode where DJ didn't want to kiss the black girl in the play, and now he's apparently married to her. I think he's married to her, and she's in the army, and they have a kid, and the wife is played by... I'll see, you don't know everything.
Huh.
The girl in the Mindy Project that played the receptionist, that was in the end, she fell in love with the goofy guy that was stealing the show all the time. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it because Laurie Metcalf is going to be on it, and she should have an Oscar, but she doesn't because Alex and Janney just doesn't lose. It's the way it is. And it should be good. And I actually don't even really understand, and maybe you know this, why is Whitney Cummings involved in this? She's producing it, but she had no relationship with it before, but she's there. Sarah Gilbert is going to be on it. So I think it's going to be good. And is John Goodman fat again? He looked fat again.
Was he ever not fat?
He was not fat for a little while. I don't know. He had the surgery. He stopped drinking. I don't know. We don't want to say anything too politically incorrect. We don't want Roseanne mad at us.
The jury's out for me on that. I'll give the show a try, but we'll see. It's going to have to work hard to win me over past the first episode. And actually, speaking of getting past the first episode, one of the things I'm really looking forward to this spring is the new sci-fi series Krypton, which is based on the legacy of the Superman character. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows the story of how his planet Krypton exploded when he was a child, and his parents sent him on a rocket ship to Earth, and he was raised here, and because of his superpowers that a Kryptonian gets on Earth, became Superman.
Okay.
This story flashes back 200 years, well before that, to the story of Superman's grandfather.
Is it played by Marlon Brando?
It is not played by... Marlon Brando played Jor-El, Superman's father, and would theoretically be this character's son. So, and I'm not sure why 200 years. I guess they lived longer on Krypton.
They don't want the planet to explode before the season finale.
So it's sort of it's pitching itself as sort of a Game of Thrones kind of fantasy thriller about the inner workings of the politics of the planet Krypton back in the past. But to tie it into the Superman legacy, a character from our time goes back in time to meet the grandfather and convince him that he must continue to fight for the legacy so that, because if he doesn't live and his family line doesn't continue, Superman will never live.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's a forced premise, but I'm sort of the built-in audience being a comic book guy, so I want to see where it goes. But I'm wondering if it didn't have the baggage of the whole Superman mythology, it might play out better. Again, sort of like a Game of Thrones sci-fi thriller type show. So we'll see. The cast is very appealing. They're all British, so of course, I guess...
Are they British with American accents or British?
They're British, speaking British accents. So it'll be... I really want to see where this goes, and I'm rooting for it. But again, kind of like Roseanne, it's going to have to work to really win.
Did it start yet?
It started last week, and the second episode is this week, and I think it's a 10-episode series, which is great. Not too long, so it won't get too bogged down, hopefully, and they can tell a pretty streamlined story, and then set the stage for bringing in other layers from DC Comics mythology as they work their way towards... presumably, if it goes that long, to eventually introducing Kal-El, who was Superman.
Okay, well, I think 200 years for Krypton is a little bit...
I don't think 200 seasons.
Yeah. Well,
there'll be some time jumps.
I was going to say, they love the time jumps now. Somebody's doing a time jump. I just read that the other day. But anyway, the thing I'm looking forward to in the spring is this movie called A Quiet Place, and it's written by John Krasinski. It stars him and his wife, Emily Blunt. And the funny thing about this is he was on set with her while she was making Mary Poppins, which is going to come out for the summer, and he wrote this dark, scary horror movie where there's been something that goes on, and now they live in a house with themselves and their 2 children, and she's pregnant, and they can't make any noise. And if they make any noise, something comes from the bushes and kills them. And did you hear the part where I said she's pregnant? So she has to have the baby and not make any noise, and then the baby gets born and can't make any noise. So it just looks totally scary and intense, and the advanced reviews are really good. I saw it when I saw Annihilation with Natalie Portman, which is another movie that
You saw the trailer.
I saw the trailer, right. I would never see Annihilation, but I went with my friend Jarvis because he likes movies that 13-year-old boys like, so we went. He didn't even like it, but I liked it, and Natalie Portman was good, and Jennifer Jason Leigh. I digress. But this was really, really good and scary, and I'm like, well, I normally wouldn't see this movie, and I liked it. So now I'm going to go see this movie, and I liked it. But so far, no one will go with me. So if anyone likes to go to the movies,
I would never picture you as a horror movie fan.
I don't have a problem putting my hands up when I need to, when I'm scared. I do the same thing on Grey's Anatomy when they go inside the bodies. But this was just a really cool premise, and I don't know, it just seemed to work. And the fact that I know that they're married, and they made this, and he did it during Mary Poppins. It's a nutty thing. Plus, I've seen her in the West Village a few times with the baby on her chest when the first baby they have. They have two babies. The first baby was born, and I just kind of think, imagine if everything was quiet, and then she was the only one living.
Well, I will not be seeing that, but I will look forward to your Pop Culture Monger breakdown.
I'll report back to you.
The next thing that I'm looking forward to this spring, which you'll sense a theme here with comic books, is a Wakanda Forever miniseries that Marvel Comics is putting out.
Aren't we supposed to do this? Never say Wakanda?
Yes, Wakanda Forever. Coming this June. It is based on the Dora Milaje characters, the secret militia squad from the movie that was played by Lupita Nyong'o and Danae Guerrera. And it's going to be a 3-part comic book series introducing these characters into the worlds of Spider-Man, the Avengers, and the X-Men. And I think it's great that these characters were the breakout stars of the Black Panther film. And I'm really looking forward to reading this comic. I'm not a huge Marvel guy, but I try and dip in and out whenever there's something interesting. And this is series. Yeah, exactly. And
wait a second. Are the images in the comic going to resemble these actresses and their likenesses, or are they going to be look like they would have looked whether or not we had the Black Panther movie cast with these ladies?
I'm not sure, actually. It will be the same characters, the same character names, because those are characters that had previously existed in comic books.
The reason I ask is there are so many different iterations of Wonder Woman, and I'm wondering if a new version of Wonder Woman comic comes out, will it look like Gal Gadot, and do these people get paid for it? Because that's one of the things, remember, in the 70s, these guys, all the people in the movies, they'd make the choice and it wasn't in their contract, and now they're all sued and stuff like that.
I'm not a lawyer.
But do you play one on TV?
No.
Do you play one on the internet?
I do not. Unlike Star Jones, I am not a lawyer.
She got married yesterday.
Okay.
And she looked really big in the picture. Sorry.
Anyway, I don't know how likeness rights work in comic books, but
likeness rights. You sure you're not a lawyer?
The characters have already been established, and it'll be similar. So, I'm all for the Wakanda Forever love in comics and movies, and who knows, maybe we'll get a TV series at some point.
Oh,
not to mention another movie.
Your dream would come true.
Yeah,
and if it was on Netflix.
Even better.
We can't even start talking about how Marvel is doing the shows on Netflix and they're not working, because that's. I'm sorry.
That's a whole other.
I'll get you a Xanax.
Exactly.
So the third thing I'm looking forward to is on Broadway, coming up on Broadway, The Boys in the Band, which are doing the. It was a movie. It was a big gay movie in the early 1970s. It took place in the 60s. It's based on a book. It's totally stereotypical gay lifestyle, but it's being reinterpreted. It has a great cast with.
Matt Bomer, Jim Parsons, Andrew Reynolds,
Zachary Quinto, Charlie Carver. So it's going to be amazing. It's going to be an event. And just last night, we had Angels in America Parts 1 and 2 open on Broadway. So there's a lot of really substantial LGBT-friendly theater coming out. Not even to bring up, the Donna Summer story is coming out. And we can't even imagine this. LaShawns is playing one of them. It's crazy. But there's a Tina, a Donna, and a Cher. Musicals coming up. I digress. And in each one of them, I think they're all following the same format, where 3 actresses are playing the diva icon in 3 different parts of their lives. So
And so, what have you heard about Boys in the Band? Because I, again, have a little bit of concern that because the movie was such a vicious, stereotypical, and in some ways homophobic portrayal of gay life in the 70s, I'm curious how that's going to translate into a production in 2018.
First of all, I don't even think that they've started rehearsals yet because it doesn't start for another month. And I have not heard if they're going to update the script in any way. And I don't know that they would even be allowed to, because I would imagine that the playwright has passed away since it's so old, that they might not be able to. I know if Stephen Sondheim sometimes will allow different references to be updated, but this might not. And I hope that it's not seen as a poor flashback or derogatory and is seen for the time and the place that it took place in, and that we use it to create a conversation around gay lifestyle and acceptance. And these guys can't find love in the theme there is they can't find love in themselves because they hate themselves so much that they then take these people that are their closest and dearest friends and all mean to one another. And that goes to show you that the way they're seen on the outside, they start to treat their closest friends. And I think it's a deeper conversation, but the way they execute it, the language they use, it's hard to watch. And I think people thinking, oh, they're going to see the commercials and there'll be the quick clips, like it looks like a sitcom with all, like, Will and Grace on steroids. It's not that. There are no girls in it either.
That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Charlie Carver making his shirt off. Oh, that's so wrong. He's the young boy.
Yeah.
All right, last one.
Okay, so we are getting close to the end of the show Scandal, which finishes up next month on ABC. It's 7-season run. I worked on a project recently which required me to re-binge the entire series start to finish, or start to where it is right now. And so I feel like I've been living this show, and I'm very curious, after having lost some interest in the show, very curious to see how it finishes up. They're on a redemption arc with Olivia Pope right now, and it seems to be working. She's, after becoming the head of B613 at the end of last season, she really sunk to the lowest we've seen her, and the show has kind of struggled to keep her on that journey that she was at the beginning, where she wore the proverbial white hat. She was always trying to do the right thing. So I have a feeling that even though this is not going to be a nice and tidy ending, I think we're going to see Olivia finish up doing somewhere in a more do-gooder way with putting that white hat back on.
I have every faith in the world in Shonda Rhimes. She's going to give us what we want. I don't know if Olivia Pope will wear a different color, but she will look fierce. She will have a hat, and all will be forgiven. It probably will end at the christening of Quinn's baby, because let's face it, the baby was born and she was alive. But I have to say, it has been so nuts. 2 weeks ago, I think the episode was on, and I'm texting you during the episode, and I'm bitching and moaning, and you hadn't watched it yet, and then it redeemed itself in the last 4 minutes, and I'm like, I take all of this back. This is me texting. But it has just been really good. My biggest problem with this season is, and it's true, is this is a hairdo. This thing that Melly's doing with these twisties, it is not befitting of the President of the United States. She should have curlers and a blow dry. I mean, she can't get a blowout? I mean, they have you can get a subscription to a blowout place. Why doesn't she have a makeup team? In real life, Sarah Sanders Huckabee, or Huckabee Sanders, she has her own hair and makeup crew. Why doesn't Melly?
These are the hard-hitting questions you can always come to expect from your pop culture monger.
And this was that point was not in this issue. Can we send this back? I think we should answer more questions. But let's just face it. Look at Olivia Pope. She is not messing around. We love her. We love her. We love everything. And she's going to be in a new series with Reese Witherspoon.
Yep.
Coming out. I think that's an HBO one, not an Apple TV.
Correct. Reese Witherspoon has Apple TV and HBO deals, and probably Netflix too. But that's a subject for
another
time.
Story. We were running out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for watching. We are silly. We are pop culture mongering, and we're just going to talk about stuff from time to time. And I have a Facebook group called Pop Culture Monger. It's under my Facebook page, Joseph Pilla. So feel free to check us out there. And I'm Joe, and this is
Rich Sands.
So thanks so much for watching. Oh, I got an email.